What's up, guys? We're back out here in the barn again with the barn vet. Today we're gonna go through a couple of things. I got a battery from Rural King for the vet. We're gonna try to hook up the rest of the Holley harness. I got the Wizard reflash, the SD card updated, so we should be able to get that. And then I'll just go to the engine quick. We got the Terminator harness laid out. I do not have it connected yet. The stock harness is mostly connected, and we had the motor roll over the other day. I did not show that, obviously, but we're gonna try to drain a little bit more fuel out of the tanks. I got a couple fresh gallons of fuel, and we're gonna hook everything up, and then we will see if this thing will crank and maybe fire. Fingers crossed, but yeah. All right, guys, we didn't get the car done today, but we did get a lot of progress done. We did some stuff that was maybe not as exciting, so I didn't show you on camera. I'll just go over it real quick. I'll show you the engine bay. So as you can see, the intake's on. We got it back on. First thing we did was got the Holley harness and started connecting connectors. So to make the Terminator work and the stock ECU feed signal to the computer, you're going to need three things: crank, oil, coolant temp. Those are the three wires that you need. So we got the crank hooked up, and then we started to the crank splitter, because I took an extension and cut it and then spliced in the power or the signal wire that went back to the stock computer. So very similar to what Sloppy Mechanics Matt Happel did. Then we started connecting all of the other Holley connectors. So started at the driver's side front and went to the rear of the car and then back around. So coolant temp sensors up here where it's at on the normal setup. Ignition for the spark plugs, and then injectors, wideband, and then back over to this side, or to the passenger side. We did the reverse of everything else over here. I plugged in so I'm running two oil sensors, one in the stock location at the back of the valley, which is where the stock ECU is going to get its signal from, and then another one underneath where the oil cooler would be. I have an adapter down there with low dollar motorsports sensor down there, and that one has an extension as well that is feeding the Holley. So I have two oil pressure gauges just to kind of be super safe. And then my second coolant temp sensor, because I'm just running two temp sensors, is on the passenger rear. Since they're Siamese heads, I have one up in the front on the driver's side, and then on the rear on the passenger side. And then what else we did was we wired up, or we ran the wires to the firewall. I still need to get a good grommet. I think I'm going to use like a marine boot that has like a marine boot. I'm talking like for boats and whatnot. I've worked on a lot of boats in the past, so they have a grommet that's rubberish. And once I have one, I'll show you guys, but it bolts down flat and then has a boot that comes out with the wires, and then you can zip tie it for waterproof. But that I'm going to run it like grommet style through the firewall so that it can protect the wires from chafing and whatnot. The Holley's mounted in my passenger footwell over here. You're not going to be able to see it very well, but it's just barely sticking down right there. camera's gonna focus weird, but that's it. And then this is where the stock fuse box is for the interior. I've ran my Holley keyed in ignition up to the radio area, and then that is where that's going to be at. But those are some of the things that we did today. The crank sensor was not fun, especially with the long tubes on the car, but we got it figured out. I still have to get the coolant in the car. Once we fire the car, I want to make sure there's no leaks. We'll probably record that because I'm guessing there will be a ton of leaks or something will go wrong. I'm sure that it won't just go smoothly, and if it does, maybe you guys will get to see a time lapse. But then once we make sure that the car cranks, I need to make an alternator power wire, and I'm going to run that to the underhood fuse block instead of the alternator. So I might make a separate video on that, because there's a lot of guys that burn up starters on these cars, and I think that the problem is constant power just running to the starter with the added heat from long tubes or manifolds, just because of where the starter is on this car and the proximity to the exhaust routing. So I'll probably make a video on that, and I will go more into depth on the piggyback on this as well, because I don't know if you saw this or not, but if you were watching closely, that's the stock throttle body, and that is probably going to go into the fender of this car, and then we're going to run drive-by-wire. That's the other thing that's missing right now. I'm not sure exactly. I really don't want to drill a hole in the firewall, but I know it's coming. I'm going to have to drill a hole in the firewall, so that's going to happen. I just need to pick out where I'm doing it and go from there. But yeah, I guess we'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully we'll have more content, and you guys will tell us what we're doing right or doing wrong. Thanks for watching. What's up, guys? We're back for another video. Today we're going to try to get the car started. I got a little bit more wiring to do, so I'm going to kind of come in here and show you what's going on. So I am just taking some of the harness that was already cut. This is the harness for the power seats in the car, and this car had heated seats, so I'm pretty sure that these are obviously red and black. I have the pin out. I haven't looked at it in a second, but there's red and black and orange. All of those are a thicker gauge, and there's a small red and white. I'm guessing all of those are power wires. These are the wires from my Saturn seats that I have in the car right now, and this orange and this black wire are the two powers. I'm not sure exactly what these other ones do, but I have hooked up power to the orange and the black and moved the seat with the stock controls. So what we're going to do today is try to hook up the ignition switch from power from the seats, because I know those wires are already exposed. I know they work, and we're going to try to make sure that the key on power or the starter power comes from there. And I'm going to then also wire in the Holley, like the power on or the accessory that comes from, or comes to the handheld. I'm going to try to wire that to the radio. I can show you guys that real quick because there's no radio in this car either. So I have the power running into there. That's the red and black. And then I'm just going to use the power on. I also have the pin out for this. I can tell you exactly which ones I'll use once I get there. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but that's what we're going to do with those. So I'm going to tap those. I'm going to tap those for the Holley trigger on, whatever you want to call it, accessory on. And then I'm going to use the heated seats, the power for that, or the signal for that, to trigger the starter button, to make the starter button live, and then I can use it like a momentary or a starter switch and I can kill it then as well, the starter with the heated power seat. So that's the plan for right now. I'm gonna dig into it and then I'll get back with you guys.